So to start off, the report, Islamophobia Through the Eyes of Muslims, I'm going to speak to some high level. One thing that's important to note about our survey is that this is the first national study to ask Muslim Americans their perceptions and experience in relation to Islamophobia and how Islamophobia impacts them. Basically, we know that Islamophobia exists in the United States, that it's not new, and that it certainly predates the events of 9/11. Islamophobia didn't start as a result of 9/11. However, to quantify the impacts of Islamophobia and to quantify just how pervasive Islamophobia is and its impacts are quite shocking. And notably, the findings of how Islamophobia impacts women and how women bear the brunt of Islamophobia. This wasn't necessarily surprising to us, and this is something that has been very well documented within the United States, France, Belgium, as well as other European countries, but the findings were, of course, unsettling nonetheless. And I'd like to uplift here some of the reasons why women are the disproportionate targets of Islamophobia. One, which is to no surprise, women have higher visibility as Muslims due to their distinctive dress that identifies them as Muslim. And that is, of course, if they wear the hijab, some kind of head covering, or niqab, or some other form of dress, they're going to be more easily read as Muslim and identified as such. And another point that I would like to touch on is the liberal and imperialist feminisms and how they play a role and feed into the false and dangerous narrative of Muslim women as being oppressed. And that means whether Muslim women are actually covered or not, they're being sort of read in this way through liberal and imperialist feminisms in terms of Muslim women not having equality because of Islam, and also because of Orientalist and Islamic views of Islam. Muslim women are seen as being in need of liberation and being saved from violent and oppressive Muslim men, which is, again, of course, a very dangerous narrative that we saw play out in the invasions of Iraq and Afghanistan, as that discourse and narrative was put forth as a means to garner public support for invasion and to also put forward the narrative of white saviorism.
As a result of Islamophobia, many Muslims not only just hide their religion's identity, but also they censor themselves in terms of even free speech. They don't want to talk about what they believe and where they're coming from. And when we look at, for example, at women, almost 9 out of 10 women do that in everyday life. They try to steer away from speaking their mind when it comes to general issues in society, because of fear that their speech or action might just attract structural violence or direct violence, whether verbal or non-verbal.